Hello and greeting. In this tutorial, I would like to demonstrate how we can use a multidimensional array to create a simple multiplication table. So the objective of this demonstration is to show you how we can, use a two-dimensional array and declare it and fill up its cells with values. Having said that, the first thing we have to do is to launch our Visual Studio 2010, and then we're going to create a new project. We're going to be Windows Win32 console application. We're going to give it a name. I call it Multi. Okay, and we click Next. And then we're going to use empty project, finish. So now we have our folders, and then under source file we add new file. In this case we're going to use C++ file, and we're going to give it a name and just call it arrays add. Alright, so now what we have our editor area, so actually we can go ahead and type our code. The first thing we have to do is we need to include our IOStream library. Next, I'm going to be using standard output, cout, using standard end of line. So that's all I need for this program. If you need more item to standard to declare, you can also put it down here under after the end of the line. Next, I'm going to declare my main function, again bracket, and then I'm going to close it, and I'll put a comment there saying end of main function. So this way we understand where is the begin bracket, where is the end bracket. Okay. Next, we need to declare our array. So it's gonna be a type integer. I'm gonna call it my table, and I'm gonna give it 6 by 6. So this is gonna basically initialize a 6 by 6 memory area for the values that we're putting inside my array. Next, I'm gonna use the for loop to populate the content of my cells. So again, think about it as a Excel spreadsheet with row and columns. Okay, so now we're gonna say for type integer, rows start at 0, rows less than 6, and then we're gonna say we're gonna increment it with plus. Next, open bracket, we're gonna put a comma here, start of the first loop, then I'm gonna put a close bracket here, and I'm just gonna say end of the first loop. There's a typo here. Let's fix this one too. Okay. Let's give ourselves some space here. Now here we can declare our second loop within the first loop. So we're going to say when for int column equals 0, we're going to start at 0 again. Column less than 6, and of course we need to increment it by 1, so that's why we have the plus plus. Into the comment here, begin of second loop, and end of the second loop. Okay, now, so what we have done, let's kind of recap quickly. All right, so first thing what we have done is we declare our library IO stream, then with our standard output end of line. So we need to use this to print the results. Then we declare our main function, and then we declare our multidimensional array 6 by 6, and then we declare our first loop, which starts at 0 and increments by 1, and the second loop is actually the column which starts at 0 and then increment by 1. And now within the second loop, what we need to do is we need to populate our cell, our array cells with values. So here we are saying column rows row equals, and we are multiplying this column times row. So actually what's happening here is that at 0 0 we're populating, so at row 0 column 1, and we will populate that cell, particular cell, with values, which basically is a multiplication table in this case. All right, so next, once we populate the result with the values, then the next step is for us to print the results on the screen. So in this case, what we can do is we have to use the same method to print the result. So to make our work easier, what we're going to do is we're just going to cut and paste, copy this portion of the code, and just going to put it down here. In this case, what we need to do is just actually use the cout, and we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to use cout to print the result. So instead of standard output, I'm going to format it a little bit, and we say column plus bracket rows. I'm going to print the value of rows. And we're going to put an equal sign here so our result is more meaningful. and we're gonna say my table column row, if I can type, and then we're gonna put end of line. So here we have a typo error. I think this is because the T is capital. Here we go. So let's kind of recap again. So the first loop populates the cell of my arrays. It's 6 by 6, has 36 cells and in the memory, and those are populated with values. Cell 00 contains the product of 0 times 0, and so on and so forth. Then we're using the same loop to go and access the cell value of my array and then print it on the result on the screen. This basically retrieves the value from the cell. So now let's go ahead and run this. Control 5. Okay, here we see cell 0, 0, 0. Cell 1 and 0, 0, because they are multiplying by 0, right? 1, 1 is 1. Cell 2, 1 is 2, and so on and so forth, and the results. So as you can see, 5 times 2 is 10, 4 times 8, 8. Think of multidimensional array as a row and column. In this case, we have only two. It's a multidimensional array with rows and columns. You can also have a three-dimensional array as well. So we say OK, continue. So I hope you found this demonstration useful for your assignments and for your other programming projects. This was simple, straightforward code in C++ to show you how we can use a multidimensional array. Okay, thank you.